Good evening, Coinmunity, and welcome back to yet another episode of Coinmunity Wednesdays. For tonight's episode, we will be having an introduction to XION, and the topic for tonight is building for blockchain mass adoption. I'm so excited to be joined by Banksy, Neri, Gelo, Wong, and Ellie, who are local blockchain leaders. And I'm really excited to talk more about blockchain adoption because this is how we're going to be onboarding, more people into our space. Don't forget that every week we choose random questions from our FB Live and our X. And if your question is chosen during the community question segment at around 8:30 into the show, you will be winning Scion tokens sent straight to your coins.ph wallet. Without further ado, I think we can start our AMA by introducing our guests for the evening. So I'd like to bring up first and foremost our panel from our local blockchain leaders by first bringing up Sir Mark Neri. Sir Mark, how are you doing? Good evening. How are you?
Hi, GM. GM
GM.
Java, I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Super excited to be talking more about adoption po because this is a really hot topic, right? And how do we really bring in more people into the crypto space? So I'm excited to hear your thoughts since you're also a dev. So you have a unique perspective po with regards to that perspective. So Sir Mark, welcome to the show and good evening. I'd now like to bring up on stage Gelo. Good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to Coinmunity Wednesdays. I think is Gelo there? Gelo, good evening. Not sure if maybe Gelo might be having some technical difficulties. Maybe we can bring up Sir Ellie. Sir Ellie, good evening. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
Good evening. Rinig ba?
Yes, rinig, loud and clear.
Ayun. Good evening to everyone tuning in sa Coinmunity natin, no? So, good evening sa inyo guys. It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Jaffa, for the invite. And hopefully, we get to learn more about the insights of the other people din nakasama natin tonight during this stream. And hopefully, maraming matutunan din yung mga viewers natin.
Yes, I think that's the number one thing is we want to teach, we want to educate, and have a discussion where we can really bring together the voices of our leaders. I think Gelo is having a bit of trouble with his setup. So maybe we can bring up on stage the founder of XION. Thank you so much for joining us. Banksy, good evening. How are you doing? What time is it where you are?
It is 8 in the morning. I'm in New York, and I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. It's great to meet everyone here as well.
Yeah. I'm really excited to hear everyone.
It is 8 in the morning. I'm in New York.
Not sure what happened there, but maybe Gelo, you can test your equipment. Oh no, maybe Gelo is having a bit of problems on his end, but I guess let's give Gelo some time to set up over there. But I guess just to brief everyone his end, but I guess. Not quite sure what happened there, but yeah, I think what we can do is for our AMA for tonight, what we'll be doing is we'll have Banksy give an overview of what XION is. Yeah, I think what we can do is for our AMA. So sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's happening. But yeah, I think what we can do first is have Banksy do his segment, and I guess we have some questions about. I'm not sure what's happening. But yeah, I think what we can do first is have Banksy do his segment, and I guess we have some questions about. I'm not sure.
I could probably just get started. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Yeah. That makes the most sense.
For sure, yeah. You take it, bro.
All right, dude.
That's
Cool.
really strange. I do not know. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Echo. I think the mic loves our voices so much that it just wants to keep replaying it. That's really what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to hear everyone's thoughts, but yeah, let's jump straight into it. So I think it's all good now. I'm not hearing any echoes over there. So I guess Banksy, let's have the floor first for you. So I guess the first question is, so what is XION, and I guess what problem did you see in the blockchain space, that needed solving?
Yeah, absolutely. So Zion is the first and only completely walletless L1 blockchain. We saw fragmentation. We saw fragmentation from the tech stack. We saw fragmentation from the blockchains. We saw fragmentation from user knowledge. And our entire goal is to just try to connect everything, whether that be products, whether that be user experiences. We just want to make crypto completely disappear. Doesn't matter what chain it's on.
Awesome. And I think, having crypto in the back end instead of the front end is really the key, because I
Yep.
think a lot of people, have technical difficulties, and there's a steep learning curve that comes with crypto. So definitely, I think the next question, maybe you can build upon it a bit more, is you talk about this a lot, when you have your engagement. So one of Scion's biggest features is making crypto disappear. Can you explain how that works and why making crypto disappear is important for adoption?
Absolutely. We need to meet people where they are. It's not about making user education better, it's about making it less necessary. You look at if you want to order food on your phone, you don't really care where it's hosted or how everything behind the scenes works. You just want to make sure that your hamburger is warm when it gets to you. So the idea of making crypto to disappear is exactly that. It is just trying to make a Web2 front end with a Web3 back end, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to reach mass adoption.
Awesome. So Banksy, I guess maybe this is a tough question, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So, what makes Scion different from other layer one blockchains or other blockchains, and how do you push blockchain adoption forward?
Number one, that's a great question. And first of all, it's collaboration. We never wanted to be the siloed L1 that played this game of grant farming and trying to steal devs from other L1s. We work with Chain Abstraction to Solana, AVAX. Soon we're going to be getting all the L2s and rollups in the game. But being able to just say, we don't really care what chain you're on, we just want a product to succeed is exactly how. And same with users and same with developers, and just trying to make an easy and accommodating experience as possible, because we understand that rising tides are going to raise all boats here. And the industry is so small that everyone can succeed.
All right, Banksy, thank you so much. I guess for our next segment with regards to our AMAs, so I'd also like to welcome, so Gelo, thank you so much for joining us, and pardon the technical difficulties earlier. I'm super excited to have our local blockchain leaders, come over for a dialogue. So maybe Gelo, I want to give you the welcome that you're due. So Gelo, good evening. How are you doing? And maybe you can give a quick introduction on what BayaniChain is and the other things you're doing in the crypto space.
Hi, am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry, I was having some internet difficulties. But so just a brief intro, right? My name is Gelo. I handle growth and strategy over at BayaniChain. So BayaniChain has two core products. The first one is a blockchain as a service platform for enterprises and government. And the second one is our own native layer 2 blockchain built on EVM. So we work with the likes of the Philippine government, Dito Telecom, GCash, and all. Um, so we primarily focus on blockchain implementations across different agencies and enterprises. So definitely happy to explore, happy to share my insights about adoption here in the Philippines.
Awesome. Jello, thank you so much also for joining us. And shout out also to all of the communities you guys represent, and to our viewers from the Scion community. I see Akris in our community as well from the PH. He's the PH ambassador for Scion. So thank you for joining us. Now, I'd like to ask our local blockchain leaders some questions as well, since the topic for tonight is blockchain adoption. So maybe for our order, we can have Sir Mark, and then Sir Ellie, and then Sir Jello to answer those questions and contribute to that dialogue on adoption. So the first question I have for you, Sir Mark, is so what challenges does blockchain and crypto adoption face in the Philippines, compared to other countries? So some context that's specific to the Philippines. So Sir Mark.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jaffa. So I think probably one of the challenge that I have in mind right now is like there's a vast amount of misinformation. Well, it's not just about Web3, but yeah, so people are misled, and then in effect they will be scammed. So most of the time, people will remember all the things that are wrong more than the things that are good, right? So it's a challenge in terms of the difficulty to try things out as well, because unfortunately, probably companies are afraid to try things out, since in the context of the users it would be illegal or at least unregulated. So um, adoption will come if people would really understand the value and impact of this Web3 blockchain can bring.
Awesome. Sir Mark, thank you. Sir Ellie, how about you? What challenges have you seen, especially here in the Philippines? What challenges do we face with regards to adoption for crypto and blockchain tech?
Grabe si Mark, pure English talaga eh. Wala pa naman ang baon na English dito. But syempre we have our guest from XION. Definitely, if we talk in vernaculars, he will not understand. So
Hey, you don't know
definitely.
that. Just kidding.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think some of the challenges that we are facing in the Philippines compared to other countries, like how easy it is for crypto to understand. So right now, at base, we just we follow like 3 pillars. So we want people, we want to enable crypto investing. That's the first one. And in order for that to happen, is that everyone has to learn how to where to get crypto, how crypto works. So you have to invest in education. The second one is that we want people to be part of the crypto economy, and being part of the crypto economy is you learning how to earn crypto and you learning how to spend crypto, and then eventually growing the crypto economy. So right now the challenges that we face is that a lot of crypto products are very complicated. It's not easy to use, it's not easy to understand. So people are having a hard time really to cope up with the technology itself. The best example for that is like something that we do on like a day-to-day basis, payments. It's really hard, it's really hard for people to spend their crypto. Like maybe, well, there are several use cases right now where crypto native people could be able to spend their crypto. But what about like like let's say zero knowledge, like maybe like our grandma, like the elders. It's really hard, for them to understand the technology. And I think that's one of the challenges that we're facing right now. Most of the products within the crypto space are super complicated. So I think if there will come a time that we'll be able to produce a very straightforward, very easy to use crypto product, I think that will really break the boundaries of people getting into the space. So I've seen several solutions right now who might be a contender to do that, but of course there's still a lot of dependencies, like infrastructure in the Philippines, like back end, those kind of things, like maybe government intervention. I don't know, but could be something could be considered as well. But I think that's one of the biggest challenge, complicated crypto products.
Awesome. Sir Ellie, thank you so much. Yes, making it very straightforward because the learning curve does not get any less steep by the day. So I guess I'd like to pass the microphone to Gelo. So working with governments is really important for adoption, right? And you've worked with the government as well, as you mentioned. So what challenges have you seen when working with the government and building adoption for crypto and blockchain?
Yeah, I think ultimately it's really the education side. Um, while blockchain has huge potential, we all know that, right? Samsung, blockchain has a really huge market that we can adapt to. Many Filipinos, even like government officials, diba, still see it as speculative or complex, right? Or even worse, they see it as a scam because of what they hear from the internet, right? And on top of that, right, compared to more mature markets, there's really a gap in local infrastructure. And I think we need solutions tailored to the Filipino context. So what does that mean, right? It's financial inclusion, government transparency, because we know how our government works, right? And also especially most especially enterprises use case. So like over at our company, BayaniChain, right? The way we do it, right? Okay, because other companies, their thesis is really consumer adoption, but our thesis is enterprise and government adoption, which in turn will help and promote and push and solidify the thesis of consumer adoption. So it's kind of like a trickle down effect for us, right? Um, so I guess that's my answer to that question.
Jello,
Maybe
thank
Japa, I would like to add on that as well, no? What
you.
Jello mentioned about like education kind of thing. I think that's really important. Though I've seen a lot of like, well, the community in the Philippines is very small, and every now and then like different communities are popping out as well. I think one of the things that we have to address as well is that when doing education, we're past the stage of awareness. I mean, it's been like how many years already, right? I think we're past the stage of awareness, and I think it's about time for adoption. So I really admire what Jello and his group, Paul and the team, doing about like enterprise level and government, because that's adoption, right? I think in order for everyone to learn, they have to adopt. I think that's the best way to learn, right? You have to adopt in order for you to learn.
Awesome. So really, thank you so much. I think the next round of questions that I have for our local leaders is this. So how can we better educate Filipinos about Web3 and make that adoption more approachable? And I guess because I guess Banksy Filipinos, sometimes they can be very stubborn or they don't, read a lot. So how can we as local leaders, educate better about adoption and blockchain tech? So Sir Mark, how do you think we can educate better ang mga kapwa Pinoy natin?
Yeah. I think while we can continue mentioning all the bells and whistles blockchain could bring, sometimes leaving those things unsaid could be more effective. And then maybe later just mention it once they appreciate the value that it did for them. So maybe teach Filipinos how a particular app that uses blockchain helps them in their everyday lives without mentioning blockchain. Of course, this is different from what we do in the block since we are doing mostly technical workshops. So we cannot like do workshops without mentioning the blockchain word itself. So ironically, I think at least from my perspective, to better educate people and onboard them to using blockchain powered apps or services, let's try not mentioning the word blockchain itself and focus more on the value that it adds to them.
Yeah. If I could actually jump in here, I obviously, being a little bit out of my element, but I think this is a universal, I think this is a universal issue, right? And it's the idea of education versus kind of showing. And I think as an industry, we need to be better about the products that we build, and the way that people will onboard is to actually use it. And I think a very good example is like very early Axie Infinity. It was like people were just using it, didn't need to really understand exactly how blockchain worked, but was able to kind of use something. And I think that the way that we grow as an industry is to provide value first. And if people want to learn and they want to get more involved in the industry, then that's where education comes in. But I think it's important to have education coming in as that second step, not the first step. And I think the sooner that we can get closer to actually building products that deliver value for people, hopefully in a non-speculative manner that will eventually crash one day, and a sustainable kind of way of life. I think that's really that's the education and the adoption and how we make it more approachable.
Thanks for adding that, Banksy. Yeah, I mean, it's always about like the end product, and I think someone in the panel also mentioned payments, right? So yeah, thank you for your input. Then feel free to also add and chime in. So Sir Eli, how about you? How do you think we can better educate more Filipinos about Web3 outside of this, I guess, maybe bubble that sometimes we only communicate within one another?
Okay. I think if we wanted to better educate Filipinos about blockchain, I think first and foremost we have to understand first what are their ulterior motive or like objectives in learning, or or in getting involved into this space, because different people have different reasons why they wanted to learn something, right? And they're always fueled by different different like aspirations or whatnot. Let's say for example, um whenever I go to universities, I'm always gauging like the audiences, especially if I'm after someone who's discussing like a very technical, like talks or presentation. I don't wanna, add another technical stuff into that, like after that talk, right? So whatever, whenever I'm in that, position, what I do is that if everyone is not really motivated by like the technology, because we've been advocating about the technology for quite some time now, right? Like these are the use cases of blockchain. These are the things that you could do with Web3. And sometimes people are not really getting inspired by those technical stuff. So sometimes what I do is that I do a presentation, and it's all about these are like the amount of money that you can earn when you get involved in Web3. Like these are the amount of money that you could possibly, earn if you get involved in Web3. And people are now getting interested, and we're talking, right? Because I mean, if you're not getting excited about the tech, I don't think you'll not get excited if you talk about money, right? Things that you could earn when you do this. Like there are bounties, there are quests, there are things that you could do, earn small amounts while building your portfolio, while building your proof of work. And then maybe eventually you could use those experiences in getting jobs. And when I talk about jobs, guys, it's high paying jobs. Jobs in Web3 are actually one of the highest paying jobs globally. So if you wanted to find a better, like high paying jobs, try to learn Web3. And then after that, maybe you're really a good, like developer, maybe you're a really good talent, you know how to build stuff, you know how to build projects or product. You could make use of that to get grants, or maybe eventually you could get funded, right? You could get funded with your product or project, or maybe you could get acquired. That's like one of the best, I mean, like end game, right? So I think if we wanted to better educate the Filipinos about Web3, we have to understand first why they wanted to learn it. Because if they just want to learn it because their friends are talking about it, maybe they're just required to learn about it, maybe in school, then I think they will not really become really passionate about it. But if they have a very solid like purpose why they wanted to learn it, then I think it will be worthwhile for them to really learn it. So yeah, I think everyone is motivated by money. I don't know if there's anyone here in our panel, or maybe in our like live viewers who are not really motivated by money. I'll send you my wallet address, guys. Just send it over.
Send us some tokens. Sir Ellie, thank you so much. And how about you, Jello? So you have a unique perspective also, right? Working with the governments. How do you see us,
Yeah,
local leaders?
yeah, for sure. There's many ways to approach education, right? But my personal thesis is education has to be use case driven. Filipinos don't need to understand every technical detail. What they really need to see is how blockchain helps them on a day-to-day basis. So whether that's securing their identity, improving access to public services, or really like as simple as streamlining remittances like with OFWs, diba? So for us, like we're working with platforms like enterprises and government agencies to integrate blockchain behind the scenes, right? Like on the back end side. So the average user benefits from the tech without having to fully understand um, the technology or what they're getting into. So simple onboarding and real life impact. That's the key to getting blockchain adoption, right? Because like we've spent almost 5 years now, right? I mean, we've been building this community for about 5, 10 years, and where does foundational, where does theoretical education get us to, right? I guess it's just knowledge, right? But in terms of adoption, I think it would be much faster if we just simply integrate and then they just get to experience it without having to actually understand what blockchain is. So that's kind of our thesis. And I think there's nothing wrong with other theses because all of that coincides with each other. So it's a holistic approach amongst different companies working together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jello. And I agree with that. Education has to be use case driven. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, what are the new use cases that we'll see with blockchain in the future, and how can we educate more people, with those use cases. So to our local leaders, thank you so much. And maybe we can move over to our round robin for all of our panelists, so we can also take some questions from our community as well. So I'd like to shout out again the XION community for joining us. I see you guys in our X feed. So I guess maybe for our first round robin of questions, um, yeah. So Banksy, maybe you can begin with this. I want to hear your voice again. So Banksy, looking ahead, what's one major trend or shift that you predict for blockchain adoption in the next 1 to 2 years? So feel free to also maybe drop some alpha or leaks on what you guys are building.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you are going to see consumer institutions come in a way that you've never had before. I think that this is a year of the Facebook product, I always like to call it, which is that product that can create network effects without being absolutely decimated, like a Frentech or a BitClout tried. And I think this is the year where people start focusing on products and venture funds start flowing into application building instead of infrastructure. We're really excited. We work with something like Uber, BMW, North Face, Lacoste, and 150 other brands. And a big part, and the only reason that we're able to do this alongside with kind of our 100,000 daily active users, is legitimately just for the fact that people don't know that they're interacting with crypto. And it's so seamless and so easy, that the network effects are about to come. And I think as soon as you start to see, quite honestly, I believe that as soon as you start to see a shift in kind of American, I would say, lack of trade wars, hopefully to ease that. But I think looking at FOMC and a couple of these trade war decisions, I think will determine the bull or bear. And I would say that I'm pretty bullish on things happening just as we move into this next year.
Awesome. Yeah. Facebook app you mentioned. And
Yeah.
I think the network effects are so important, especially in crypto, where I think a lot of people get onboarded via, word of mouth or referral. So yeah, let's hope to see that there will be a use case that will really drive that network effect, as some of our other panelists mentioned. So I'd like to ask Sir Mark. So Sir Mark, maybe you can also give some perspective as a developer and what you see, also with blockchain adoption. So what's that one major trend or shift that you see in the next 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, sure, Java. I think, well, I'm wishing that in the next 1 or 2 years, we don't have to install like billions of wallets in our Chrome browsers. Yeah. So, yeah, if that happens, then I think more people will join, or at least more people will try blockchain applications. And maybe trend wise, probably we'll see less of the casino side of blockchain, meme coins, etc. And would love to see more applications of things like RWAs, AI, and DeFi. So that's what I'm predicting.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm looking forward also to RWAs and AI also, and more use cases for mass adoption. So really, how about you? What's the one major trend or shift that you want to see or think we'll see in 1 to 2 years from now?
I don't know. I'm not really looking ahead because I'm in the present. So
Nice.
um,
All right,
um,
nice.
we have to work it out right now, definitely, before we could really look ahead. I mean, we're used to doing like, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, right? But I guess right now it's really making things easy to understand for everyone. Even like the day to day stuff that we do that are really blockchain enabled. Like payments is, once we're able to unlock, like easy payments utilizing cryptos, like both on ramp, off ramp, I think that's, definitely that will open a lot of opportunities for other stuff to happen. Like, you're wishing about RWA, DeFi, AI, or whatnot. As long as we haven't fixed that paywall, in terms of payment, it will be hard for us, to get over to the next stage. So I think, it would be best if we're able to really solve that problem right now with, like, like on ramp, off ramping, payment, payfi, those kind of things. Because once that is solved, I think that the other steps would be easier for everyone.
Awesome. Shirley, thank you. And I agree, thanks for the devil's advocate perspective, because the transaction is the building block of using the blockchain. So Shirley, thank you so much. And about you, Jello, maybe you'd like to add to that or also counter that, and maybe what's the shift that you're seeing?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Building on top of our thesis, right? The way I see it is we'll see a very major shift from speculative use cases such as, mga NFTs, entertainment sector, right, to real world adoption, especially in government and enterprise. So alongside their partners like Western Pacific, with Mr. CJ Costales, right, blockchain will become invisible to the end user, but essential for back-end trust and data integrity. So that's the way we want to approach things. We don't want to spend years educating people. We just want them to simply adopt it. And today we see that in our work, right? In terms of national level integration. So for example, with Department of Budget and Management, we're processing over $92 billion on chain in terms of document records. So what does that impact for the Philippine people? Our taxpayers' monies are protected, right? So um, that's kind of the approach that we want to go for, and we want to double down on that in the next 1 to 2 years. So I hope that answers your question.
Did the
I guess
government really allow that to happen? Did they?
build there.
On the level, kasi one point in contact pa lang yan which is Department of Budget and Management. But in terms of on an LGU level or uh on a different departments level,
Yeah.
we haven't implemented there. So it's just in the point of contact with Department of Budget and Management.
Okay.
That's what we're
Kasi
trying to.
parang, I mean, I find it hard to believe that we're talking about money and the government wants that to be on chain.
It's actually not the money itself. It's the records. But the records
Okay.
are as good as cash. Kasi yan yung
Exactly my
sinasubmit sa
point, right?
DOF. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's why I'm wondering.
There are good people naman in the government, right? And I really appreciate them. The one pioneering that is Yusek Sasa del Rosario. If you guys are going tomorrow to the Blockchain Council Philippines GMM, BBM will be speaking there, so they can explain better the reason behind the implementation of this uh, tokenized documents.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
And I guess we can probably move on to our next question. So let's kick off the last round robin before we I guess have our community question. So I'll pass the mic over back to Banksy. So Banksy, so for you, what's one underrated blockchain use case that you think will be a game changer? Maybe now, maybe in 1 to 2 years time from now.
I think it'll be ZKTLS. I think that'll be an interesting, fun one that we're going to be seeing in the first. I would say starting now. We have an interesting way that we're working with it. We're effectively allowing Uber to vampire attack Lyft users via ZKTLS, and it is really, really exciting. And that's just one of the first use cases for it. And I think that there's going to be so much more. I think that as an industry, we've always had this back and forth of privacy and information, right? You want information to be there, but yet you still want it to be private, but public. And I think for the first time, you're getting a lot of investment into ZK technology, specifically ZK TLS for kind of applications of that. And I think that that's one of those final pieces to really hit into consumer adoption, because people care about their data, people care about security, and people also care about the future and kind of using this technology in ways that they were meant to be made. And I think that that's only possible with the advancements in ZK technology.
Maybe Banksy, just maybe people haven't probably heard of what ZKTLS is. Maybe you could just explain to them real quick what it stands for, and maybe in one sentence, what does it try to do?
Yeah, so it's a zero knowledge transport layer. And effectively, what it is you take the information that these Web2 companies have been stealing from you for years through their APIs, right? So, if you're using Facebook, it's all the things that you've liked, it's where you went to school, it's everything like that. And all of that is in Facebook's database. And the way that they call that is through kind of their API. And so being able to kind of tap into that and reverse engineer it effectively vampire attacking the moats that Web 2 built. That's what ZKTLS is. And it is very exciting because effectively it's really reminiscent of just the walls that kept us in now become the kind of the ammunition that will propel us. And I think that that's a very exciting concept, and I'm very excited to see that coming forth in the next 1 to 2 years.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Data is really important, especially because we want accuracy, but we also want transparency. So, Sir Mark, how about you? Underrated blockchain use case 1 to 2 years from now, or maybe even now, that you might think will be a game changer for the crypto space.
Yeah. So blockchain use case that could be game changer, I personally think could be games. So because right now I'm seeing just games that are like not yet fully on chain. So I'm seeing like few blockchain games that are fully on chain. So autonomous worlds as they call it. So yeah, I think the underlying tech as well could also be beyond games. So I'm actually looking forward to more use case of the underlying tech of those on fully on chain games.
Sir Mark, thank you. Sir Ali, how about you? Underrated use case now or 1 to 2 years from now?
Okay. Um, I think before I answer that, I think we were talking earlier about, like, like how can we better educate people about Web3, and when Bansky talks about like ZKTLS, I was like, what was that? So you know what I mean. So I think if we really wanted to onboard more people as well into the space, we really have to really maybe like explain these things like on a level that uh like like very easy to understand, right? Bansky definitely is like a tech person, right? But I'm not. So the reason why when I talk to people, I always on the assumption that they will not, they might not be or may understand what I'm talking about, right? So I was like, I don't know what that ZKTL is all about, but
Yeah.
I understand the explanation earlier. So I thank you so much for that.
And I
So
think that that's sorry, I was gonna say I think that that's the exciting part of everything that we're doing. It's like as an industry, we're doing such
yeah,
complicated things, and
yeah,
the goal of it is to make it completely invisible, right? And so it's like
exactly,
taking
yeah.
these complicated concepts. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I agree with you completely.
No. I understand what you're saying, but the idea is that when you, let's say for example, Gelo and his team is like talking to like enterprise level in the government. I mean, we in the industry understand how it works, and we wanted to make it invisible. But when you explain it to those people, like, I don't think I will use that because it sounds intimidating to me, maybe, or I really don't understand it at all, right? But thank you, Bansky, and and what you're doing at Zion, that's like the whole industry itself definitely is, into that as well. So to answer this question, I think for me, underrated use case or game changer, allowing everyone to receive crypto maybe using their email, that's tied up to their maybe wallet address, right? It's like it's really, I mean, we have like name services right now for like for wallet addresses, right? We have name services, but sometimes you might forgot what your your name service is, or maybe it got expired or whatnot, but no one forgets their email address, right? So imagine you receive crypto just by sending them your email. I think that's a very, like very underrated thing, like if you want to receive crypto, just give them your email address and that's it. Definitely they'll be receiving their crypto, or maybe their social media handles, right? So I think those things are really underrated, but will definitely, definitely go a long way if it, it will become like a norm, for everyone.
Awesome. Sir Ellie, thank you so much. I think it'd be interesting to see also email and social media, I guess, pages, be linked to Web3 and blockchain. So, Jello, how about you? Underrated blockchain use case now or 1 to 2 years from now?
Yeah, I think there's a lot, right? But top of mind, I'm thinking blockchain-based identity and certification systems, right? Because with the rise of AI and digital fraud, I think like proof of auth- proof of authenticity is like super important. I think it's going to become a crucial component in how we move, um, in how we engage with private companies and companies that collect data, right? Um, so I think this will become a major driver of trust in digital ecosystems. And I think more than that, right? I think people are talking about crypto and crypto centric use cases, right? But as mentioned, right, someone will have to do the real world use cases, and I think that's something we can champion, and I think other companies can also do the same. So I'm looking forward to that in the next 1 to 2 years.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, I think email, social media handle, and making these integrations very seamless is really important. For adoption. So I think we can take some community questions as well, and I actually want to choose some from our community for Banksy since he's made time for us as well here, and then maybe some questions for the rest of our panel. So I think the first question I'd like to ask you, Banksy, is so this one comes from Facebook Live and is from Edwin Dehino. So they asked, what are the major milestone stones on Scion's roadmap for 2025 and beyond? So what are those, I guess, benchmarks that you guys want to hit soon?
It's a good question. Thank you, Edwin. Our internal KPI is we want 5 projects individually having 100,000 plus daily active users by the end of the year. I think that's very doable. And when I say like daily active users, I don't mean tap to click. I mean genuine providing users abstracted crypto experience and having 100,000 daily active users. And then additionally having kind of strongholds in a bunch of different regions, making sure that everything is global, and making sure that I think we call them Zion houses right now, very temporary name, but we want to be having co-working spaces and hosting events in a bunch of different regions, as we understand that the benefit of crypto is kind of the globalization as a baseline. So super excited about that. In addition to working with even more brands, as I mentioned, we had about 150 and utilizing ZKTLS and exciting technologies to provide them more benefits. It's going to be very exciting.
Awesome. Edwin, thank you for your question. Maybe one more question for you as well, Banksy. So I like this one from Mark Balisi. If Scion had to summarize its mission in one powerful sentence, what would it be?
We're going to redefine ownership. I don't even need a whole sentence. We are going to redefine ownership. I think similar to the Industrial Revolution, how patents and intellectual property spurred the Industrial Revolution, this is a new Industrial Revolution where instead of just intellectual property, it's real property, it's monetary property, and it's intellectual property across the entire world.
Awesome. Mark, thank you for your question.
Thank you, Mike.
And I think maybe we can have some questions for all of our panelists, and maybe we can just do a rapid fire, Q&A. So I like to take this one, and maybe Banksy, you can start this one off as well. So this one comes from Piolo Azuela, and they ask, how can we erase the stigma about crypto that was built up by those wrong things that left a mark in most people's minds?
By providing good things. I think it'll take time. There has been a lot of crashes in this industry. There's been a lot of bad actors, and there will be more, unfortunately. But I think that same conversation happened in the early internet. The same conversation happened in early AI, and they're still 2 of the largest industries in the world. So with time, with patience, with good actors, with good intentions, and I think call it regulation, but I think we start to see less and less bad actors.
Awesome, Banksy. Thank you so much. Let's hear from our panel. So maybe Sir Mark, how can we erase the stigma about crypto?
Yeah, so I think there's no perfect technology. So having wrong things is not really unique to crypto or Web3. So yeah, I agree with Banksy that we should focus on the value giving things that we can provide to everyone, and onward and forward.
Onward and forward, more good actors as the market and the crypto space matures. Sir Ellie, how about you? How do you think we can erase that stigma about crypto?
Um, Actually, I would agree with Bansky, with Bansky and Mark. It's really by doing a lot of good stuff, like producing really good projects or products that will really erase, this stigma from like the community. Because definitely people, I mean, people will always find, bad things in a particular industry, right? So they will always find that, like bad apples there. But I think as an industry, we really have to really come together to really show the world that this industry is not really that bad. Let's say, for example, take what happened with Bybit, right? It got hacked, like one of the biggest in the crypto history. But what happened? Like, the whole crypto industry comes together to help them, right? And then in a matter of like how many days, they were back up again, right? And it proves to show that this industry is not really that bad as a lot of people may think, you know. But I think it will still mature, in the next coming years as more and more product, as more and more institution are really converted, to be part of this industry. And we're seeing that happening. So I think we just continue doing that. And definitely this stigma will be long gone without us, really noticing it.
Sir Ellie, thank you so much. Optimistic tayo dyan. Jello, ikaw naman. How do you think we can erase the stigma about crypto?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's gonna be there no matter what we do. But ultimately, the way we can, you know, push for it, right? To push to remove or to lessen that stigma is really to shift the narrative from speculation to utility driven use cases, right? Where, blockchain is quietly solving problems. As mentioned, we'll go back to the same thesis, right? They don't really need to learn about the tech, right? So for example, right, like we used to run an NFT marketplace, and we used to treat NFTs as collectibles. But as mentioned, diba, it's still speculative at the end of the day. But what if you're able to show how they prove ownership and authenticity for things like diplomas, certifications, or intellectual property, right? Because at the end of the day, the technology isn't the issue. The way we used it in the past is what made it look bad. So now we have to show that blockchain isn't about getting rich quick. It's not just about making money, but it's about building systems that people can rely on. So I think that's my answer to that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, diplomas and records, are a very inevitable part. And we hope that can become on chain because I think that's important for a lot of people. And our panelists also mentioned ownership. So, Piolo, thank you for that question. Maybe one more question or two for a rapid fire round robin. So, from Eri Greyrat, describe the future or your future of blockchain mass adoption, since that's the topic for tonight. So, I'll pass the mic over back to Banksy. Banksy, what's the future of blockchain mass adoption for you?
I think it just looks like traversing the internet like you see it today. You can go from one website to another and just use it. That's it.
Awesome. Sir Mark, how about you? What's the future of blockchain adoption for you?
No more crypto wallets that needs to be installed.
No more
That's it.
crypto wallets. Sir Ellie, how about you? Future of blockchain mass adoption?
Yeah, maybe same thing with Bansky. Like you're just using like the internet today, and it's that easy. You make a payment, you order food, you book for your ride, everything. Like it's easy on your palm.
Sir Ellie, thank you. How about you, Gelo? Future of blockchain mass adoption?
Yeah. I think to summarize everyone's sentiments in one sentence, right? The future of blockchain mass adoption lies in making the technology invisible to users, right? That's basically as simple as that, diba? Um, and I think everyone can agree on that as well.
Yep, I think we're all in consensus there. So,
Sir.
Mary, thank you for your question. Yeah. Another round robin question for everyone. So, Thank you, Ari. And Sleepy-ish asks, what's the simplest thing we can do, as Web3 users and maybe us as like Web3 leaders to convince other people to adopt blockchain tech? So Banksy, how about you? What's the simplest thing that you think users can do to get people on board with crypto?
I gotta go back to Ellie with this, but it's make it simple. No one wants to learn things. Just make it simple. Give them a reason to do something, and change their lives for the better. That's it. That's it. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Sir Mark, how about you? Simplest thing.
Yeah, I think you should be a user yourself, right? Because if you know the value that what you're using is really valuable, then people will trust you on that.
Sir Mark, thank you. Sir Ellie, simplest thing we can do to onboard.
Actually, it's somehow similar to what Mark mentioned. It's like getting involved, but getting involved has, like different things on it as well. So you getting involved as a user and you getting involved as well in like, teaching other people how this technology works in its simplest way, right? Don't say that, you'll take their money and then you'll you'll do it for them, right? Don't be a bad actor for sure. That's one. So and yeah, I think that's the easiest way, to convince people to really be part of this technology.
Sir Ellie, thank you. And Jello, simplest thing we can do as users to convince other people to adopt blockchain.
Yeah, the simplest thing we can do as Web3, maybe not just users, diba? Builders, we're all builders here, right? Is to really show, not tell. I think like it's important that we're able to demonstrate these use cases without having to overwhelm them with like technical jargon. Because may lang sila, I mean like, sorry, in English. Um, they'd be
Intimidated.
cautious about it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So, um, at the end of the day, really, we're done with the theoretical phase, right? We really have to start demonstrating how this technology can really impact our lives.
Awesome. Jello, thank you so much. And maybe we can cap off with one last. We have a little bit more time. I like this. So let's be optimistic. Let's be bullish. So Jimmy Mirabuna asks, so what's the single most bullish thing happening in crypto right now that people aren't paying enough attention to? So Banksy, what about you? What do you
Zion.
see?
Next question.
All right. Sir Ellie, how about you? Single most bullish thing that you think is happening right now that we aren't paying attention?
um I think approval of ETFs and like crypto reserve, because that only means that retail people are coming in, and that means that a lot of people are adopting already. So that's, I mean, we don't pay attention to that too much because it's not really Philippine settings. But if you look at it on like a global perspective, on the macro perspective, it's really a super bullish thing because it's saying that crypto is now legal. It's saying that you can now invest in crypto as like a regular consumer or like a normie. So I think that's one of the most bullish things happening right now.
Sir Ellie, thank you. Sir Mark, how about you? Most bullish thing happening right now?
Yeah, I think seeing more developers, students, professionals trying to learn more about the technology, regardless of the market status. I think that's so bullish for me.
More students, grassroots education as well. Thank you. Jello, how about you? Most bullish thing happening right now?
For me, it's the growing infrastructure for retail inclusion. Um, we're seeing more progressive and more comprehensive applications in like stablecoin payments, right? Loyalty identity systems, right? And also the second one that I wanted to mention that I'm super bullish about is really the government adoption side. Not just in the Philippines, but even in the US, right? They want to build a crypto treasury. They want to, really push for crypto. They want to champion crypto in the US, right? So I think like that's super critical to our adoption because if US does it, everyone does it, right?
Awesome. Jello, thank you so much. And Jimmy, thank you for your question. I loved hearing everyone's answers. So the time now is 8:58. Maybe we can just do like one last round of where can our community find you on social media, and we can plug those as well in the comments section. So Banksy, where can the community find you after this AMA?
Definitely find me personally on Twitter or X, Burnt Banksy or Burnt Zion. Yeah, then go down the rabbit hole.
Banksy, thank you so much.
Thank
Sir
you.
Mark, how about you? Where can the community find you?
Yeah, you can find me via the blog. So we're on Facebook and X. Yeah. So the blog group.
Sir Mark, thank you so much. And Sir Ellie, where can the community find you?
I'm always active on Facebook, so if you know you can always see me. Just simply search my name, and then on Twitter I'm active, but mostly you'll see me in Base Philippines. So just simply look for Base Philippines, and you'll see me there as well.
Sir Ellie, thank you. And Jello, how about you? Where can the community find you?
Personally, you can find me under Gelo Wong, like in all socials, and then you can also look for companies, explore it under BayaniChain and Prismo Technology. But generally, I'm super active in events, so come say hi.
Awesome. Jello, thank you so much. And to all of our panelists for tonight, thank you for making time for Coinmunity Wednesdays. Banksy for joining us all the way from New York, for introducing Sion to our community, and to our local leaders as well for joining us for a panel discussion on how we can build for blockchain mass adoption. It's been a pleasure and thank you so much. I'm JC Cadiz or Jaffa, community manager for coins.ph. Thank you all for watching and attending Coinmunity Wednesdays, and we'll see you all again on another live stream. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.